Okay.
Let me make sure it's on. I'm waiting for it to load up. Hold up.
Okay.
Check, check, check. Waiting for it to load up. All right, cool. All right, so what's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. I'm here with my beautiful wife. Say hi, boo.
Hi, everyone. I'm AKDI. And yeah, I'm here again.
Let's go, let's go. We haven't done a live stream together in a while. I've been busy with some other things going on and basically just relaxing in July. You having a good July, acting?
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, having a good July. July is over. We're in August now. This year is flying by. But July was actually hella active. And there's some more content I'm going to post up on my channel soon, showing y'all some of the cool things we did here in Budapest last month. But we're here to talk about a few things today. So I'm interested to hear what the people have to say, what Acti has to say, and just, chop it up for an hour or so with the people. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I have my war paint on.
Okay. This might get a little bit hot. But let's get into it. So, first order of business today. Kamala Harris's much older lover gave her a BMW and salary boosting job as she climbed Democratic Party ranks. Now, this is a story posted on the NY Post on July 31st, 2024. And this is one of the ways I think MAGA is going to try to frame Kamala. Like, they're going to try to frame her in the election as somebody who is hungry for power. She used her feminine wiles to like sleep her way to the top. And basically, in this story from NY Post, they're talking about Kamala back in the day when she was about 29 years old, living in California as a lawyer and prosecutor. She got a job because she was dating the much older mayor of San Francisco, who was 60 years old and the first black mayor of San Francisco. His name was Willie Brown, and he basically appointed her to some very high level government positions. And he sort of helped her move up in the Democratic Party ranks and also helped her win her first Senate race, basically to the U.S. Senate. So a lot of people are saying like Kamala is, basically a social climber to the upteenth degree. And I'll be interested to know what you think about this acting. Like, how did you first react to the story when we first read it on the NY Post?
My first reaction is, what does this have to do with anything? Because if you compare her to Trump, which is what, MAGA people love, Trump is a criminal, he's a sex offender and a fraud and all of those things. So compared to that, even if Kamala did use this guy to climb up the ladders, like, is it that important? Because at the same time, like, is there any politician really that doesn't take advantage of something? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that be a relationship or a family member or whatever. And Trump comes from a rich family. So, like, why would this matter? And it
Now,
happened
now,
many years ago.
Now, let me jump in right there. You're saying, like, okay, people take advantage of who they know in society or the people that they can put them in power and stuff like that. Wouldn't we say that's wrong in general? Like, shouldn't the critique be that it's wrong for any politician or any person to get some unfair advantage because of who they know?
Yeah, it is wrong in general. Like in the book, in textbook definition, it is wrong, but it happens all the time. And also, we don't know the exact like relationship that they had. So how can we say, oh, it was only for, money and power, etc., and there wasn't anything real about it? Like, we don't know.
I get what you're saying, but I think the thing is like, we don't know exactly what went on in their relationship, but on paper, if you heard that there was a 29-year-old woman dating a 60-year-old very powerful man, and he then gave her, a job that maybe she wasn't qualified for, helped her move up in rank, wouldn't you say that was wrong? But because we attach Kamala's name to it, then we say, oh, okay, wait, maybe maybe it's okay. By the way, Lakshan says hi all. Shout out to Lakshan. But go ahead, Axie.
I just think you cannot really take it out of context here because, yeah, like it's not like her whole career was dependent on this one thing. Because we don't know if like, we don't know how much effort she put in. We don't know how hard she worked for it. So I don't think we can take it out of the context and say this was only for that. That's what
Okay.
I'm like. And if you look at also with the context of other, people who are politicians in America right now, especially Trump, what Kamala did seems like innocent.
I mean, is it innocent though? That's the thing. Like, I'll never forget my father when Kamala was, running with Joe to be vice president in 2020. He said Kamala slept her way to the top, and my first response was so. And I was like, "What does that mean?" And then he just said, "Oh, blah, 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 blah," and then walked away. I didn't know exactly how to deal with that. You know what I mean? By the way, shout out to everybody in the comments. MD Badshah says hi. Shout out MD. Commando 21 says Kamala is an absolute joke. Okay, well, tell us why she is a joke, why you think she is a joke, and tell us if you think her sexual history matters. Wandi Banda says, "What does dating someone got to do with running a country?" That's a very good point, Wanda. Wandi. That is what we're trying to get at here. Yellow school buses and coconut trees. That's a reference to Kamala used to get bused to school because she lived in like a poor part of town, and we had this program back in the day where poor kids will get bused to like the rich side of town. To yeah, and plus a coconut is in relation to her being a Indian person, stuff like that. All right, so yeah. Anyway, shout out to Bangladesh. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I think this issue talking about Kamala and her relationship with Willie Brown. I think, and I'm not trying to like pussyfoot around it, but I'm gonna keep it real. I think this is something that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people will take into consideration when evaluating her. Like when the campaign continues to roll out the ads and say that she was a social climber, that she tried to sleep her way to the top, and that she used this man to get to the top, people are gonna say, okay, this is a woman who really maybe can't be trusted. Like she's going to be somebody who, tries whatever she can to reach high as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like it's unjust. Then how about like nobody thought about Trump saying, "Oh yeah, I grabbed that woman by the PUSS."
Mm-hmm.
Like
Uh,
that's something even worse because we know what that is for. Like
mm-hmm.
with but that's not something that he did with his wife, or even if he did it, why would he say it like that and all of that stuff? So why would that matter for Kamala? Like I don't see the connection here with her dating history and her running for the president. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm gonna say it because I love getting you guys mad. I think it's sexist.
Why is it sexist?
Because most of the time, men in politics do a lot of shady stuff, I believe. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them go out, like how it went with Bill Clinton or,
Mm-hmm.
Trump. But yeah, it becomes a big story, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really, become the topic of, oh, should we elect this person or not?
Yeah.
They say, like, oh, it's a man, men do this, men do
Mm-hmm.
that, they're men, they're being men. So, like,
Right.
why can't you say the same thing about Kamala? Like, she's just a woman who's trying to be successful and
Mm-hmm.
she liked somebody and she dated that person, and that person happened to give her an advantage.
I
Why is
see.
it accept?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think there is that double standard, right? Like men can be more sexually loose, and especially if they have power, they can use that power to their advantage to have access to women like that. But there is that double standard where if women do the same thing or use sex as a way to climb up, it's seen as trashy and stuff like that. By the way, Kitty Maiden said, Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins and rose 3 days later. So I guess we all gotta, everybody, if you believe in Jesus, shout out to you. Wandi Banda says all politicians are shady. I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like, I think instead of looking at this as a male or female issue, it's like the issue of shady politicians. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You jerk me off, I get you a job in political office. Like that's what it more looks like. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that all politicians are shady, regardless they are males or females. Yeah,
Mm,
they are shady and they do stuff. But once again, like, yeah, it shouldn't be like that, but it is like that.
got you.
Yeah, like there should be some sort of, I don't know, regulation towards that, but it's not like, yeah, like this girl, 29-year-old girl, Kamala, she wanted to pursue that and she went for it. And
Mhm.
why not?
Why not? I feel like this shows like how our world is like a little bit unfair. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like what you're saying is like, yeah, it's okay for a young, beautiful, attractive woman to use an older man to gain advantage. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if she used him. Like he used her as well. So, like you said, it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So it's
Uh,
like, yeah, I don't think within the context, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because
no,
the context is like all dirty everywhere. There are fingers in the context. So,
actually, what's my favorite reality show?
90 Day Fiance.
And Michael is a young Nigerian man dating a 60-year-old white grandmother from Georgia.
Yeah.
Is Michael not using Angela?
Yeah, but Angela is using Michael as well.
For what? No, well, maybe she's using him for sex. But yeah, in this case, Willie Brown is a 60-year-old, out of shape black man who just so happens to have money and power. And here he is able to get this very attractive looking 29-year-old young hot lawyer on his arm. Like, come on now. Like, are you saying like you don't know if she used him? Come on now.
I mean, we assume that, yes, that sounds like the most logical assumption. But even if that's the case, he is also using her as well
Mm.
to satisfy himself. So, like, why not? He's getting shamed for that.
I think he should be shamed for that. I feel like, if you are a boss, like if you're the mayor of a city, you shouldn't be sleeping with, people that work with you in government. I feel like that's a big issue.
Yeah. So, I think it's like also just to say that he took advantage of her as well because like you said he was a 60-year-old man back then, and
Hmm.
if he manipulated her and promised her certain things and then got that peak.
Right. I got you. I get what you're saying. Wandi Banda says she's right. They both consented. They used each other. Willie Brown gives PDF file vibes. I mean, Willie Brown is now dating like a woman who's like 30 years younger than him, a 40-year-old like Ukrainian mail order bride. Like Willie Brown is known just to be a nasty dude, and like all of his wives got lighter and lighter until he got to white. So uh, Willie Brown is like a funny guy, and I think there is maybe an argument to be said that, okay, Willie Brown sort of like manipulated this young, impressionable girl and probably forced her into this sort of, not forced her into the relationship, but like used his overbearing presence and force to like convince her to be on his arm. You get what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah,
won't have a career unless you date me. Like, because it could be looked at both ways. Like, yeah, Kamala might have said, okay, I'm going to use Willie to move up. But Willie could have said, hey, do you want to work in this town? Then come with me to my gala or dinner or something like that.
yeah, and also like they dated for a year in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe he helped her get in a certain position. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like after that, like there are a whole lot of years that she worked stuff by herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can just like erase all of that.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Hickster says, have you hit that already, brother? Yes. Your mother came over the other day, and I made sure to do my duty to smack that booty up and down. For anybody who doesn't know, this is my wife right here. So y'all have some respect. Hickster says, hit the like. Yes, I hit the like. Hit the like on the button. The same way I hit Hickster's mama on that booty last night. Just like that, just like that. All
Wow.
right, but yeah, that's really all I got to say about Kamala. I think that's like a nothing burger. You get what I'm saying? Uh, Chris says, does Acti have her own channel? I'd like to listen to her opinion. Okay, so Acti, people want to hear what you got to say. She's always on my channel. She's always giving her opinion, but
Yeah.
yeah, she's always doing movie reviews with me too. So if you like our opinions on stuff, y'all check us out on our movie reviews that I post all the time. And if you have any movies you want us to review, send it our way. Put it in the comments section. FBA Strong says, awesome couple. Thank you, FBA Strong. And yeah, by awesome couple, you're probably referring to Willie Brown and Kamala. Willie Brown and Kamala. Now, how different. Now, this is another thing. This is a sidetrack. This is a side quest we're going on here. But one of the criticisms of Kamala, and you heard this before we did the live stream, is Trump saying that Kamala, she was Indian for all I knew, and then one day she decided to be a black person. And like there are some people criticizing Kamala for, maybe double dipping. One minute she's Indian, one minute she's black, and then criticizing her, of course, for dating and marrying a white man and not having any of her kids of her own. Like, where do you think those criticisms are coming from, and are they valid? You get what I'm saying?
Hmm. In terms of like her race and the talk around her race, maybe it might be valid to question those. But I think she is mixed, right? I think she
Mm-hmm.
does have Indian air heritage, but then she also does have black heritage in her
Mm-hmm.
as well. So it's like both of them are true. And if she does have both heritages, then she can stand up for both. And also, like, there are millions of white people who say, I'm like 1% Italian and 2% German and 3% black and all of all things. So like she can do that as well. And she does look like a, non-white person. So it's not like she's pretending to be white and then she's pretending to be black or anything like that.
Right, right,
Mm,
right.
I don't think it's questionable that yeah, like she's a not white person.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely not white. She could not pass. Well, could Kamala pass for white? I mean, maybe if it was like 1923 and she really tried hard, like maybe
Yeah.
she could pass for white. But I don't know. I think that nose would give it away and those cheekbones. But I think the major issue with Kamala is that her blackness, like blackness, is not just, of course, what you look like. It's also to some degree like what you believe, right, and how you present yourself. And the thing is, because she does have those two identities in her. There are times when she does dress in the sari, and then there are times when she's like stomping with the AKAs and doing ski and all that sort of stuff. Or ski wee, I forgot what the AKAs say, but yeah, it. Then there's also like her flip flopping about reparations, and at this point in Black history, Black American history, we're looking for like that unequivocal, strong Black leader that's gonna say all the right things that we want for our people. And so I feel like her questioning, when Trump questioned her blackness, he was trying to like touch on something that's a bit deeper than just saying she decided to be a black person. It's like her going back and forth about where she stands on black issues. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like she's been clear about where she stands on black issues.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she does want to empower black families and black students and black youth. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I like heard and saw on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I do think she is with the black people. So, like you said, in her one of her like I don't know shows, I don't know what they're called. Like
Rallies.
yeah, like Megan the Stallion performed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like she's there for the culture and everything. I think she embraced it, and she does come from a mixed culture, so it's okay for her to show them both.
Right, right. I think it's okay to show them both, but the way race works in our modern world, it's like if you present as black, like people will see you as black. Like Jag said in the comments right here, being an Indian from India, I can say Kamala Harris is 100% American. Like I don't think Indians are going to claim Kamala the same way black people will claim Kamala, right?
Mm,
Because how it works, like the Indians might look at her and they see sort of like a light skinned Indian, maybe. But then when they find out her heritage, they say, oh, no, you're not one of us. And she didn't grow up there. She doesn't speak the language. She probably only likes the food. So it's like, once you're on this side, and by this side, I mean blackness, it's like you're stuck there. There's like nothing more you can do. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I thought she was black until I learned she was Indian. Also,
Mm-hmm.
so that's that. Like from my perspective, but at the same time, she does represent America in that sense that America is a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
But of course. people, like, everything in America is racial, and there is that race politics and everything. But
Yeah.
coming to, like, her personal life with his wife, with her husband, and not having her kids of her own, I think that's unrelated to her presidency and
Yeah.
candidacy.
I think it is relevant because if her race wasn't relevant, I don't think we would see the amount of support she's getting. Like black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. They're the most reliable voter base and stuff like that. So by the Democrats, forcing Joe Biden to step aside and having black women to have the opportunity to show out by helping them elect the first black female president ever, like it is consequential, right? And I do think there is some benefit to having black faces in high places. It's a very minimal benefit, right? But it does break down slowly the ideological barriers of what people perceive blackness to be. Obama getting elected, even if he did nothing for black people, broke down that one barrier that said we'll never have a black president in white supremacist America, right? And to see a woman and a black woman, ostensibly a black woman, break down that barrier, there is still some benefit, I think, to having that there, to break down that one barrier that's in the minds of a lot of white supremacists out there. Do you get me?
I get you, but, like, I think it's unfair to expect her to change who she loves because of political benefits, or
Mm-hmm.
chance, because let's say you were thinking of running, would you divorce me just because you want to see more black faces in higher places? Like, you know
No.
what I mean? How it's unrelatable to the topic, because you cannot really expect her to change her personal life for presidency. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she loves.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I would not divorce you. In fact, I would stay married to you just to piss off the white supremacists even more. Kiss you all up in the White House, yeah, just smacking your booty walking into the White House, yeah, all that gangster shit. No, I wouldn't do that. And I think there are too many black genitalia watchers, man. It's so sick to hear people question somebody's blackness by who they decide to lay up with. You know what I mean? Like we should be able to express our full humanity, and it shouldn't be about who you're married to. It only matters about what you're saying. If Candace Owens were saying like white supremacy is evil, we need to change America, there's systemic bias against black people, but she was still married to that cute little twink British boy that she lays up with, like we would be cool with Candace. We have nothing. I have no issue with Candace other than what she says. Making documentaries saying George Floyd died of fentanyl and stuff like that. Like that's her issue. It's not who she decides to lay with. You get what I'm saying? But then again, the black person's genitalia will always be a fixation for the white supremacists and black people who align with white supremacy. You get what I'm saying? So Wandi Banda said earlier that reparations is a old issue that should and will never happen. AKDI, what's your stance on reparations for black Americans?
I don't think it's an old issue. I think the time is gonna come. That's how I feel. Hopefully, if Trump doesn't get elected, I think Kamala might be able to make it, or at least take a step towards it, even if she couldn't, like, completely, make it the way Black Americans want it, because I feel like most Black Americans want, a certain amount of money, right? Or,
Mm-hmm.
like, sort of financial support from the government in terms of reparations. Maybe she won't be able to do that exactly, but I feel like what she was saying in some of her interviews, like she wanted to, have therapy for Black people, etc., things like that. So maybe she might be able to do it in other ways. So I don't think it's an old issue. I think it's a new issue. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a very relevant issue. As far as the therapy, free therapy for Black Americans, like, no, that's crazy. No, we want cash checks. I want to be able to pay for my therapist just like any other white person would in America. Let me get my check. I can take care of myself. You get what I'm saying? We built the nation for free. We were forced to build it for multiple generations. We were enslaved longer than we were free. If you look at the time, we were enslaved longer than we were free. We built the ports, we built the railroads, we built all the infrastructure of America. We allowed America to become the richest, most prosperous nation that ever existed off of the backs of our ancestors. And that's not right. That's not right. So we need our check. It is a debt that is owed for foundational Black Americans. All right. So
For all the people, sorry, I just have to say, like, for all the people who are commenting about this issue right now, I just want to say, like, you cannot divide stuff from the history and just pick what you like and what you don't like,
right.
because what happened with slavery enabled Black people to start out in America in a disadvantage, and that affects Americans, Black Americans today.
Yeah.
Not about, oh, I never owned a slave, so I'm not paying a dime. Like, no, it's your ancestors contributed to that, and now the ancestors of former slaves, they are paying for that socially, so someone should take responsibility for that, and it's not like you're just gonna go like homeless because you're paying reparations.
It's not even just slavery, by the way. There was the Homestead Act, where the American government said any free white person can enter America with no visa, nothing, and get free land. Anything past the Mississippi, you just get free territory, acres and acres and acres of land. The entire state of Oregon did not allow Black people to enter until the late 1800s. There was the act after World War II, where returning veterans were given free loans for housing. They were also given free education. And Black veterans that came back after fighting the Nazis in World War II did not get those same benefits because of systemic racial discrimination. So America has a long history of disadvantaging us and destroying our communities whenever we did work hard and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, whenever we did create the Black Wall Streets and the countless other communities that we created right after slavery. All of those things were destroyed. And because, like Martin Luther King said, America did something exceptional against the Negro, America has to do something exceptional for the Negro. And I'll put that in the chat for all of y'all. Acti, anything you want to say?
No, I agree with you. And if other countries can do reparations as well, like how Germany is doing with Jewish people, I'm sure like white Americans can do it as well, or America in like general can do that as well. So we've seen that it's possible. I don't know why that would be considered, not logical.
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, on to a much more important issue. We're going to talk about female boxers in the Olympics and the intersex and hermaphrodites and trans people and crazy right wingers who are convinced that the world is conspiring against female sports, an issue that they care so much about. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, Acti's going to run down the story for you. Tell us the story about what happened at the Olympics with these people.
Okay, so basically the Italian boxer Angela Carini, she went onto the ring and she was fighting Iman Khalif of Algeria. And yeah, she started fighting and she got a couple of punches in, and she got punched a couple of times by Iman Khalif, and then she gave up after 46 seconds. And now there is a whole debate about if it's fair or not for Iman, because sorry, for Angela, because Iman is intersex, if I'm right,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So there's now a whole debate about whether intersex people should be joining the Olympics. Should they be not joining the Olympics, but should they be racing and competing against women because it's biologically unfair? So yeah, that's basically the wrap up. I don't know if that was too short.
No, that was pretty good. Basically, also, they don't say it in the New York Times article, which I'm going to link for everybody here to read if they want to. But they allude to the fact that Imen was disqualified before because the gender testing or sex testing that they did showed that, she had X and Y chromosomes, which are in usually what we think of as boys. But they are for people that have 4X, what's it called? 4X, 46XY DSD, which is a condition that mostly intersex people have, where a person might have testicles, but they might be inverted inside. The person might also have the female organs as well, such as ovaries and fallopian tubes, all that sort of stuff, a uterus as well. But they're also born with that, and they also, produce testosterone at higher levels than women, right? And so, yeah, the question really is: should people that are intersex be in female sports competitions, right? Because Imen, the female boxer, she produces more testosterone, even though she identifies as a woman. She can get pregnant like a woman. She can basically live her life as a woman and be perceived as a woman, but she has a genetic sort of advantage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the first time we read this and we were talking about it, and I do feel like it is a conundrum, and it's a conundrum because you don't want to be unfair to any person, right? But at the same time, just because one of them who happens to be intersex wins that race, you cannot immediately just say, "Oh, she won because she has more testosterone." That might be the case, but even if that's the case, should we still exclude those people from going into sports like this? Like, should they be excluded? I don't think so. I don't think they should be excluded from any sort of events like this because they also, like, throughout history, have been discriminated against as well.
I, I think if this same thing happened in 2014 and not in 2024, the video of the Italian fighter getting punched in the face and then crying, people would have just roasted her. And it would have been, oh, look at this strong Algerian, get beating up the Italian girl. And there might have been a lot of sexist jokes online, like, why is she crying? Like a girl? Shit like that would have happened online. But because it's the culture war era where everybody wants to try to, dictate everybody's genitalia and make everybody drop their pants and show their crotch and stuff like that. It's like we're living in this age where it's like nobody can get a break, even a girl. Even a girl, a person who identifies as a girl, raised as a girl, technically born as a girl, but with a different medical condition. You get what I'm saying? She gets caught up in the culture war stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like with all these things going on, like I saw the video, I would say like 50 times because it's always in my Twitter feed. So it's like the way also Angela Carini reacted made everyone pity her and
Mhm.
then sort of villainize Imane Khalif.
Do you think that like what's it called? Like amplifies white women's tears? Like that highlights the power of a white woman crying? Like the whole world is like, "Oh, poor Angelini." That
Yeah, it was definitely like, I saw a lot of like it was on both American Twitter or international Twitter, but also Turkish Twitter as well. And I just saw everyone writing like, "Oh, poor woman! Like it's not fair to be fighting with men," and it's
Mhm.
like she's not fighting with a man.
Yeah,
So I think she should have been a good sportsman,
right.
sportswoman. I don't know.
Sportswoman, sports person.
Yeah, like, I think her sportsmanship wasn't supportive, and it just
Mhm.
gave the impression that it was unfair when it
Yeah.
was just like really her losing it, like her just losing the battle.
Okay. Now, FBA Strong says an intersex competition only. So I don't know. Like, should there be this third category for intersex people to be in the Olympics?
I don't know if there's enough participation in every category to have intersex competition. And
Hmm.
it's also like, just because you're intersex, but you identify as a woman, and then you also fulfill the standards for a woman, like she did this year, she did pass the qualification to, be a contestant in this game, then why should be put with the special kids?
Yeah. Once again, I don't think there's enough people there too, and I do think that the Olympics should have like testosterone or estrogen level tests, right? If you have a certain amount of testosterone that matches with your gender, right, then you can compete with them. That makes sense to me, right?
Hmm.
Because Imen, by the way, the girl who beat up the Italian girl, she didn't win every fight. She's only fought girls all of her career, and she's lost like 9 times. She's a beast, though. She's been winning most of her fights. She won gold in like the Arab League, the African League, Middle Eastern League. Like she's been racking up medals, and this should be another time for her to like celebrate her victory because she's been grinding hard. But still, people getting caught up in this culture war stuff are taking this away from this girl. You get what I'm saying? Marito says, "Goodness, all this confusion. The world needs the Lord. He, the Lord, is the author of peace and sound mind." But I have to ask you, Marito, who created intersex people? Was it humans? Did humans put shit in a tube and say, okay, we're gonna make he she's in this thing? No, God created her. God literally created this woman who has this condition. So if you don't like Imen doing her thing as a girl because she was born with the condition that God gave to her, and I believe in God. Acti doesn't believe in God or is agnostic, whatever, but I believe in God. And God created this woman. You get what I'm saying? Y'all, he made her with this condition. So why are y'all saying like, oh, God is needs to be in control and oh, we need to go back to Jesus? What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Anyway, actually, you got anything you want to say?
Um, what else? I don't know what else to say. I feel like I said it all. But yeah, I do agree with you on the fact that, yeah, there should be some sort of standard when it comes to testosterone and estrogen and all of those
I,
things.
I'm sorry, Acty. Marito said a stupid ass comment. Marito said they chose to be intersexual. That's like saying I chose to be bald headed because genetically I cannot grow hair.
I
That's
don't
like
think
saying
he knows what intersexual means.
he's stupid. There's literally stupid people on my lives, bro. That's really dumb. That's like saying, bro, you chose to be 5'8". Bro, yeah, you chose to be born black. What the hell is that? You chose to be intersex? That's stupid as hell. That's really dumb. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Acty.
Yeah, I just want to say that intersex is when someone is born like ambiguously, like sexually ambiguous. So they might have a vagina and they might also have a penis. They might have a vagina. They might have balls, something like that. Okay, so they're between both genders. They don't choose to be intersexual. We're not talking trans people.
That's crazy. I mean, it's so crazy to say, yeah, bro, you chose to be born with a dick and a pussy.
Okay, now.
Anyway, Commando says we live in a truly lost time when men can play dress up as women, then beat them up and everything. We haven't spoken about trans people in sports. Why is that funny? Why is that funny?
We should have explained what it was before doing all the talk.
We should have, but they don't listen. They don't listen. But yeah, I think this issue with the men goes even deeper because when she was a young girl, like selling scrap metal to go take the bus to go to boxing lessons, and you can find this on her Wikipedia page. Her father didn't even want her to box because her father said boxing is not for a girl. Like, so she grew up in this like patriarchal, traditional society where boys do boy stuff and girls do girl stuff. And so like she had to really fight to make it to where she is and stuff like that. And I think this goes a bit deeper. Imen might have been born intersex, but Algeria has a very traditional culture. And so maybe she did want to transition to be a boy, but she never got the chance. So now she has to stay in a girl's body and have unfair advantages in sports. So I think this story even sort of lends credence to the idea that people should be able to transition while they're young so that they can actually, fit in where they want to fit in or where their talents let them fit in the most. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it is like, when you compare it to Angela Carini, Italian lady competing in the Olympics, I can definitely like feel that Imane Khalif might have gone through more regarding gender and
Mm-hmm.
and also being born intersex as well in a country like, Algeria, like you said.
I got you. My guy Nelson Moreno, favorite commenter, jumped in here. He says conservatives are now saying that having a vagina and the ability to reproduce doesn't make you a woman now. Like this is like where we are in the gender war now. Like in the crazy thing that the right wing says, and like us normal people who are like, yeah, that's the girl, and she just beat the shit out of this other girl. Okay, next thing. But the conservatives have to make everything about their fascination with people's vaginas and penises. Like
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, and you said something like, yeah, maybe it comes down to the question of like who is woman and what is a woman and all sorts of things. But I feel like we have to accept, gender is fluid, and this is something that celebrates sports for every
Yeah,
gender, every race, for every person, for every religion, right? So I think it should be about like biological equality rather than trying to put people into boxes saying like this is a man, this is a woman, etc.
yeah, yeah.
Usually those categories fall under like two genders, right? But I
Hmm.
think it should be more fluid than that also,
Yeah.
like categories as well.
Yeah. Nelson Moreno says life is unfair. Muhammad Ali in his prime had crazy athletic advantages. Some athletes have access to millions of dollars to prepare. So yeah, I think this also brings up the issue, and you and I were speaking about this, Acti, like, if there is a girl who has this condition, does she have an unfair advantage? And I would say, if somebody was 7 foot tall in basketball, we wouldn't say, oh, you have an unfair advantage. They say, oh, go ahead and play against me, 5'8" Simon. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just whatever you have to your advantage will make you good at something. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think when we were talking also, I thought that was such a strong point because you gave the example of Simone Biles, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, she's like super tiny, and that's just something that she was born with. Like she's not someone who's big or tall.
Yeah.
Uh, uses that for her advantage when she's competing in these gymnastic competitions. So why not like this girl cannot use the same thing? And and also thinking about like what Emmanuel Calif's advantages, her being intersex. I think it's both an advantage and a disadvantage because it's not only physical, I'm
Hmm.
sure she has to deal with a lot of psychological stuff that comes with being intersex. So,
Hmm.
maybe she would rather not be intersex and be a regular woman and still compete like that. So we can't
Yeah.
say it's a full on advantage, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus made her that way, So she has to just live her life that way. Of course, maybe we don't know exactly what the girl actually thinks, right? Because she hasn't come out and said, her piece on this. But it's such a shame that like she can't celebrate her victory and do what she wants to do. And yeah, who knows? Who knows what life would be like for her if she lived in another country that was, treated trans people, gay people, those different types of people better, right? Because I honestly get the impression maybe she might be trapped in a form she doesn't want to be, but maybe I'm reading too far into it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we can't know that until she says something. So we're just like coming up with theories.
Yeah, yeah. But any more to say on this topic?
I think no. I think we've said it.
Okay.
There are more than two genders, motherfuckers.
Okay. I like that. I like that. So, the Associated Press, very important news site. They cover things like the Olympics, Hamas war, beach volleyball, and yeah, Cardi B. She files for divorce from Offset, then posts she's pregnant with her third child on Instagram. So, yeah, actually, run down the story for us. Tell us what's happening with Cardi B.
Okay, so Cardi B is saying that, this has been long time coming and she was having problems with Offset. And by the way, they have two kids, a 6-year-old Culture and 2-year-old Wave
Hmm.
already. And she is filing for divorce now from her husband. But she also revealed that she's pregnant.
Hmm.
Revealed a baby bump at the same time. And I don't know what she's doing with her life, but yeah, that's basically the story. Like she wants to get a divorce, but she's also pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, she wants to get a divorce. She's pregnant at the same time. And I think, what's happening to Cardi is sort of like a tragedy because she had the opportunity to be like the biggest rapper, biggest female rapper past Nicki Minaj, like to surpass her because I feel like she has a likability about her that Nicki doesn't have. And I think, Offset really sort of like tripped her up. Like getting with the Offset was the worst thing that could happen to her because she's just fallen in love with that dick. That dick got her acting crazy, like popping out babies and not focusing on making an album. She's been dropping a lot of singles and she stays in our public consciousness, but she's not like reaching her potential. And I really feel like Offset messed her up, but it's her fault though. I feel like it's her responsibility for how her career has ended up, how her family has ended up, because she invested time in this man. You get what I'm saying?
I don't think you can only blame one person about anything that's happening in a relationship. And what happens in a relationship would also affect each person individually as well. So, yeah, I do agree on the fact that it was a bad choice to be choosing as a husband, possibly, and as the father of your children. But, you love who you love, and sometimes you love shit people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what she is doing wrong is that despite all the, resources that she has, she's not getting help. She's not getting a therapist. She's not going to probably like a family counseling. And instead she's showing up on IG live and talking about like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And like the fans and the tabloids like her therapist or something. But I don't think she's taking like responsibility of what's her part in it is, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's her fault as well. And
Why?
meanwhile, Offset is just constantly silent.
Why is it not her fault though? Because like, actually, let's keep it real. If I transform into a demon on you and become the worst husband possible, and you still stay with me, how is that not to some degree your fault? If you're choosing to stay with me, I don't keep you locked down. I'm not trying to trap you here. Like, how is it not the person's responsibility for who they decide to let in their life to some degree?
Of course it is their responsibility, but it's not that black and white. Like if I'm in love, love makes you do crazy things. You got a restraining order because you loved someone. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like love makes you do crazy things. Sometimes you're blind. We know all these cliche things that people say, and they might be cliche, but they are true. So
Yeah,
just because like you're continuing on that toxic road, yes, you have to take some accountability for it, and you are responsible for some of it, but not all of it. So that's where I'm at
I
because
got.
yeah, it doesn't just work like that. It's not like always 1 + 1 = 2,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
relationships like this.
Right. Cardi, Commando says Cardi is a proud figure to look up to for all women. What do you think about that?
Sorry, let me see. Cardi B is a proud figure to look up to all for all women. Uh Right now, I'm not buying it because I said that to you earlier.
Hmm.
Is that in her songs and all of that, she's talking about, look, like, I don't need your dick. I can jump on anyone I want. I don't need your money. I love money. I earn my own money and all sorts of things. But then she's like getting pregnant while she's filing for divorce. I know, once again, I know it's not that, simple, but for me, it's just what she's saying in her art and what she's doing in real life is not matching up.
I got you. I think there is something to admire about Cardi by coming from the bottom and making it to the top the way she did by any means necessary in America. But there is, a little bit of performative ratchetness to what she does that I can't say, okay, I want my daughters to act that way. I want AKDI to act that way. I don't want you getting on here and like twerking and shaking your ass and then yelling at me. Because I feel like a lot of the stuff she does like with Offset and like I hate you, Offset. And then the next day on Instagram, she's posting how much she loves that dick. I feel like it's performative from her reality show days. Like she didn't let go of the fact that she was on Love and Hip Hop, whatever, and causing all sorts of mayhem on the show for ratings. I feel like she brought that toxicity from the TV show into her relationship. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. She does have that, like, playing for the tabloids sort of personality. I do admire like some of the things she did as an artist, obviously, because first of all, she's a female working in a male dominated industry, and she does make more money than, her husband and all sorts of things, but it's like if this is something that was being long coming, why are you getting pregnant by this guy? Like, why would you still want this guy to be the father of your children? I don't That does not make sense to me.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to you and it doesn't make sense to me. And that's why I would say if whatever consequences happen to you, you're responsible for them. If your kids grow up without a father, or if you end up getting killed by this man, which could happen too in those toxic relationships, like you're somewhat responsible. I know you're going to say, oh, we don't know Offset or other guys could be master manipulators or gaslighters or all that sort of stuff. But I feel like at the end of the day, right? Like if you're with somebody toxic, you're with somebody who's bad for you, you have to make that choice to say, I'm going to stay in this or I'm going to leave. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you should have that, but I feel like Cardi B doesn't have that. Uh, I don't want to say she's not mature enough, because I'm sure she's seen a lot, like from her, past days, her stripping days, and all of those things, which makes it even worse. Because
Hmm.
I feel like if you are a female that gets a lot of attention, um, especially male attention, after a certain point, you kind of figure out the code for males and understand what type of people they are from like the first glance. I'm not
I,
saying I'm saying I feel that's what women become as they get older, especially if
I,
they were.
I I I don't feel like that's for all women. I feel like that's for certain women and especially strippers. Like ex strippers know men because they see the worst of us, like us being our most depraved. And I feel like Cardi has that sense about her to say, "Oh yeah, Offset, that's a cheater." Like as soon as she met him, like before she even got pregnant, there were like rumors of him like cheating. Like before the first time she had a baby. You get what I'm saying? So like she knowingly decided to go with that situation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at Nelson.
What's he saying?
He said, "So what's the code for males? No Diddy."
But yeah, I feel like in this situation, Cardi takes responsibility. Offset is wilding out there. But I think, going to her announcing her pregnancy at the same time that she's having her baby, I mean, at the same time she's having her divorce, brings us to this other issue of like, you know, a lot of black female rappers are now touring, making music videos and being on stage while openly pregnant. You get what I'm saying? And low key, I kind of blame Beyonce for this. This is Beyonce's fault, low key, because she went on stage at the VMAs or whatever and said this, and since then it's been hell on earth. All
People
this, all,
The world loved it. The world
no,
hated it. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, she's
nah,
finally."
nah. And since then, Queen B has led a generation of degenerates, the sexy reds and the Cardi B's, to be like twerking on stage and just being nasty in public while having babies inside of them. You get what I'm saying? I feel like it's wrong.
I
I
don't
feel like
get
it's wrong.
saying no. I hate men.
Now, now listen. So we read this New York Times article here about female rappers basically, continuing their careers while they're pregnant and stuff like that. And they talked about Carisha from the City Girls. She was touring while she was pregnant. Sexy Red, of course. Cardi B performing on SNL while she's pregnant. Other rappers as well. And I just think it's gross. I think it's gross, low key. Not because a woman is twerking while she's pregnant, but I think it's gross that in capitalism, right, the time when a woman should be able to stay at home and be with her family and rest up and be whatever she wants to be, she has to still be out there making money under the system of capitalism. You get what I'm saying? It feels very degrading. Like I don't think people see past the degradation.
Okay, I agree with you that the system is freaking like awful, and it forces women to be, not in good conditions while they're pregnant, but it's not like only female rappers are forced to work while they're pregnant. A lot of women are forced to work while they're pregnant. And yeah, it's not only them, and that's just like the way how the system treats us. But I don't get why women should be blamed for how the system is so shitty towards them.
Right. I don't think women should be blamed for it. I don't think that y'all should be blamed for it, but I do think there is uh, a choice to play into it. Right. There is some level of choice to say, okay, I'm a successful female artist, and I have fans, and I have money flowing in, and I have a career and stuff like that. Can I afford to take at least 9 months out, or 3 months out, the last trimester, whatever, to take care of my body and make sure I have a successful pregnancy? Because I can only do this once. You get what I'm saying? And I think there is, a choice to be made there.
Yeah, and they made that choice and they thought I can still work and twerk and dance and perform and make music and
Hmm.
have a kid at the same time. And that's the choice they went with. I don't see what's anything wrong with that. Like, because you guys have been saying, oh, women choose their careers over making babies and having families, you know? So that's just so shitty because we're not having any babies anymore. And all of these women just choose their careers. So hence why the population is declining. But
Hmm.
then when we say, okay, so we'll still work, we'll still provide for ourselves, and plus we'll have babies too, and we put them together as well, you still hate it. It's like there's no way of pleasing men in this world.
It's the thing is, it falls into the same category as, like, you know Kendrick criticizing Drake and the whole world criticizing Drake for what he is doing as a 40-year-old or approaching 40-year-old father. Like, people are saying, oh, Drake, why are you acting like a 20-year-old when you got a whole baby at home? I think the same criticism is fair to have against women, right? When you are about to give birth to a baby and you're entering motherhood, a sacred thing, and instead of, cherishing that moment, you want to twerk and pop on stage and act like a hoochie. I think that is what the culture will say, and you might say that's just men, but I feel like women would have that same criticism too. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that don't like the performative ratchetness.
Yes, fuck those women. I don't care about those women. I care about like how things should be right and correct and not having double standards around these things. Because yeah, people are roasting Drake. Most of them is because he's an alleged pedophile and he's also been like a lover boy, you know, breaking hearts, all sorts of things. Yeah, they might be criticizing him a little bit because he's a dad and all sorts of things, but he's only like one man that's been criticized for being a father, while women are constantly expected to step down from what they're doing whenever they become pregnant, their mothers. But this is something a lot of women struggle with. Just because you become a wife doesn't mean you're not a different, like, doesn't mean you're a whole other person anymore. Just because you become a mother and you're pregnant doesn't mean you have to give up all the other sides of yourself. Those are separate things. Just because biologically we have to carry the child doesn't mean we have to give up on what we were doing before. And men, most of the time, don't usually have to give up on anything. When Drake became a father, no one was like, oh, Drake, don't perform like that anymore. You're a father now.
No, no, people are saying that now. They weren't saying that, and then the beef happened, and now they're saying that now,
Yeah,
and there is this catching up.
they're saying it to roast him in any other way because he's getting all the hate. That's the reason. The reason wasn't like solely because he became a father.
Hmm.
And
Right,
with the critique of, you know, all these pregnant rappers twerking on stage, the critique comes solely because they are pregnant.
right, right. Commando 21 says you shouldn't have a child unless you're financially sound. I would reply, how sick is it that we consider whether we're supposed to have life or not, depending on money? How capitalism has warped our minds. The lives of our children are dependent on the money that we are able to have. And these are people that have fallen into capitalist beliefs. But I would say this, I think the cultural criticism around Drake is a new thing. Yes, I will agree that it has not always been around there, and that double standard for Drake was allowed to, last much longer than if this were Beyonce, for example. right? I mean, Beyonce gives the impression that she's there for her kids, but also she's able to have this career and this perfect balance where she's a great wife, great mother, and also the greatest entertainer of all time. Who knows how her marketing people did it, but they found a way, right? Drake, up to the Kendrick beef, didn't have that luxury. But for these smaller female rappers like Cardi B, like Sexy Red, and stuff like that, like there is still this perception, like, okay, I feel like at this point in your life, you become a mother. Please stop chasing after Offset's dirty dick. You're becoming a mother. Please don't twerk on stage at the BET Awards. It looks crazy. It makes us look bad as people, as black people. You get what I'm saying? And I know somebody's gonna say Cardi B is not black, but you get what I'm saying. Like, she's a part of the culture and stuff like that. So I hope I'm making sense and you're following what I'm saying. But there is like this sort of respectability that comes along with being a public black person. And to most people, twerking while being pregnant is going to be seen as something that's like not good to do.
I don't agree with that. Once again, I don't think, yeah, like we can criticize people's choices, but we cannot tell them what they can do and they cannot do. And if you're saying to this black woman like Sexy Red that she shouldn't be up in the stage twerking while she's pregnant, then you are putting chains to her freedom as a black man. You are criticizing her and saying that she can't do a certain thing because she has to fit to a standard. So I don't know how that's fair. And I was gonna say something else. Yeah. Second of all, wait, I forgot what I was gonna say because I got so heated.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Once again, my takeaway from this is like, okay, what on one hand, women, like, do what you want to do, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy controlling women's bodies, but I also have to be real about the realities of like the world we live in and the perceptions and the double standards that we have to live under, right? And that's a part of my survival mechanism. Like, as a black person, like, I realize there are certain things I can't do. No matter how much I want to say I'm putting chains on myself, there are certain things I just can't do, right? As a man, as a black person, and stuff like that, because of the racism we live under. Go ahead.
I agree, but this is like, to me, sounds a little bit two faced. And once again, a double standard because I told you this before. Oh, it's okay for you guys to sexualize certain types of women. It's okay for you to guys to go to strip clubs and look at and touch and feel on women who are possibly mothers as well, who might be pregnant as well. Even there are like a lot of cases like that, because strippers do get knocked off all the time. So like, how are you gonna do that? But then when someone famous does the same thing, you're gonna be criticizing her. Like, it's not fair when you get to enjoy things secretly, but when it's out there, you're gonna be criticizing her.
hmm I don't feel like I'm being like two faced or I'm being like playing both sides. I feel like I'm just trying to stay in reality, right? And like analyzing it from that perspective. My only criticism of female rappers twerking and being on stage is I think it's gross to still have to sell your body, to sell a commodity, sell an experience while you are, going through this radical change in your body. And I think maybe that's because I come from a country where we don't have paid maternity leave. And I think in Turkey, there's no such thing as that either, right?
Yeah, no. I mean,
Right,
some companies, it depends on your company where you
right.
work.
Right. My criticism is that the New York Times article makes it seem like girl boss feminism, third wave and strong women, that sort of stuff. My issue is like they're trying to sell it and dress it like, hey, pregnant women working, twerking on stage is a good thing. When we should look at this in horror and say like, why aren't our women better protected, and why don't our women have the capability to stay at home and rest and still make money while they're giving birth to new life? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but would you rather have her not work and not be able to raise her children appropriately or in the way that she would be able to if she's working and making more money? Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense. So you want this woman who was doing this before, she was there out there performing in her style, no matter what it is, if it's shaking ass or singing opera, doesn't matter. So you want her to like quit her job. Would you say the same thing if she was working in McDonald's? Like, yeah, obviously the system is bad and it's making both of those women work, but this is her job. And the girl who works at the McDonald's, that's her job as well. So why would you judge Sexy Red for doing her job?
I'm I'm not judging her. I'm only speaking about what I think other people will say. So if I'm taking that out of it. I'm taking that out of it. I'm taking that out of it.
Culture says like our culture, social media culture and pop culture and everything is insane. Like there are very discriminatory things that our culture says. Sexist, racist, xenophobic, all sorts of things that culture allows to happen. So like why are you defending the culture right now? I'm confused.
I'm not defending the culture. I'm only explaining it. But since I've explained it so much that it seems like it's my position, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a step back.
What do you actually think?
I've said what I think multiple times. Like it's gross that anybody should have to work while they're becoming a mother or becoming a father, right?
Yeah, but
That's the
okay,
issue.
that's the system though. But what about what's, these pregnant rappers are doing?
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck. If you were twerking while you were pregnant with my child, I kind of be upset. All right, so you caught me.
Wow. So, okay, let's say I wasn't with you.
But no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Mm,
asked you earlier if somebody was twerking at your mama's funeral, would you feel like that was acceptable?
no, but
But it's okay to twerk while you're 9 months pregnant on stage in front of everybody. And
yes,
then
'cause
on top of that, and then on top of that, and then on top of that, knowing the perception that white supremacist America and the world has on black women, you would say, yeah, it's okay for me to show my big black ass twerking in public while I'm pregnant.
yes, it's okay, Simon, because a funeral and being pregnant are not the same things, first of all. One of them is an event, and the other one is a person who's going through a life changing thing. And yeah, I applaud her for not giving a fuck what other people think and being authentically herself. If as a black woman, if that's what she wants to do, like I don't know who are other people to judge and say, "Oh, she's not a good representation of black people." She is black. She is a representation of one black person at least. Like
Mhm.
I don't get that. I don't get why she's not a good representation of black people.
Jesse Paris brought up a good example. Sarah Bartman, right? Like we're living in the the world where the black woman's body is like under examination, overly sexualized, denigrated, but also seen as alluring and stuff like that. So yeah, with that image in mind, like acting, I'm really trying to like imagine you were a black woman where all your life people told you you were ugly and you had to change and you had to do something else. You had to wear other people's hair. You had to be totally other than yourself, right? And on top of that, people, when you go to different countries and places, because you're a black woman, they shout at you in Italy, hey, prostituta. And you go to Spain, hey, prostitute, and Portugal and all those other places. And you get sexually assaulted and verbally harassed by people no matter where you go. And you make it as a successful rapper. This is a wild scenario to be in, but you still want to say, yeah, I want to be able to twerk in front of the world, knowing that me being on stage is a representation of my people and stuff like that. Like, that's hard for me to even justify. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know how your mind works or how men's mind work, but that's totally not how my mind works. I know I can never experience what a black woman would experience in real life, so I'm not gonna talk as if I'm a black woman. But I feel like what she's doing is expressing herself authentically despite everything that's been told to her. You do the same thing. Despite people telling you you can't go to certain places, you can't wear certain things, etc., etc. You do those things. So I don't get why it's a problem when she does those things against all the stereotypes and all the hate that she gets.
But I'm not on a stage. Like, I'm not on a
It's
international stage.
exactly, and what she does, it should have more impact because she's defying those stereotypes and saying, I don't really care what all these people are saying about me. I'm just gonna do me.
Mm-hmm.
She's raising kids, you know, probably she's raising them good because she decided to have another one. Ob- Obviously, she can take care of.
That's not why she's having another one. She's like, I'm raising good children. Let me get pregnant by Offset again. No, she wanted that dick. She was lonely. Stop.
I was referring to Sexy Red, not Cardi B.
Okay. Well, that's not the way either.
You don't know. You don't know, like outside of the stage. Once again, it's her job to be on the stage, right? So we don't know how they are outside of the stage. We don't know what type of mothers they are outside of the stage. So I don't think people can judge them because they are doing what they should be doing, which is their work. And also from the nature of their work, people judge them.
Right,
Well,
right.
because y'all love to listen to it. You love to see ass on the screen shaking, but it's problematic when she does it and she's pregnant, and now you just don't want to fuck her anymore. It's like, ugh, like I don't get it. You've been
No, 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 no.
big, my booty hole brown all over the house.
The crazy thing about Sexy Red is that she's not sexy and she's not red. Like that's the wild
Her
thing.
hair,
No, because red means a person who's a red bone. We have people with red skin, like mostly like in Louisiana in the deep south. But there are black people that are red. Have you ever seen a red black person?
no.
No. We got red bones, yellow bones, black bones. No, ain't no black bones. Chocolate fees and
Well,
red
she might be
bones.
referring to her hair.
No, she's not referring. Acting, I'm black. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, either way.
Malcolm X was a red bone. Did you ever see the colored pictures of Malcolm X?
No, but I can check.
Malcolm X uh, was he had red hair. That's why they called him Detroit Red. Here's a good picture right here. That's a red bone. Technically, he's red. He had red hair
Mm,
and all that.
okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't get why people judge her and other pregnant rappers doing what they're doing, earning money for their kids. If I had to go out and twerk for my kids, I'm gonna do it.
mm,
If that's the thing I have to do to give my kids a good life, I'm gonna do it. Nobody can judge me for it, not even you.
yeah, yeah. So Jesse Paris says we have standards in the black community, and she doesn't meet them, and that is why she is being promoted so heavily to our youth. I'm not one of those people that thinks like there's a conspiracy to make our youth degenerates by pushing hip hop or like twerking stars on screen and stuff like that. I think those things are easily sold, and white people buy that stuff, right? The number one consumers of hip hop still to this day are white people, right? It's not like there are not enough black people in America to make the rappers that go platinum, right? We didn't push Eminem to the top. We didn't push Lil Wayne to the top. We didn't push Drake to the top, like Kanye to the top. Kanye's still on top, even though he talked hella reckless about us, and that's because white people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter to me." You get what I'm saying? So, uh, I don't think there's like this conspiracy to make us look bad on TV, but I do think it is the choices of our celebrities to decide how far they're going to go with the ratchetness to make a buck, right? And even though, like you said, Acty, I'm that type of person that says I don't want to be limited in my blackness or my choices and stuff like that. I do think we have to make some serious, considerations when we are in that level on what we will do and what we won't do. And I think Sexy Red decided to make that choice that she'll do almost anything to secure the bag. And I think that's the issue because we do have some level. We do have to have some level of us representing us as a community, right? Us representing us as a people, right? And that's my
I
thing. I
I
know you won't get it, but that's my thing.
Okay, maybe I'm not getting it because I'm not in the community, but I just think black people do already have great representation. At least like in my eyes and around the world, there are great black people that everyone knows, like Obama, et cetera, Malcolm X, all of those like big, great black people. But I just don't like the fact that just because someone might fit to certain stereotypes of black people, now all of a sudden they're not considered like a good representation of black, despite the fact that they are black. And I feel like that's unfair to be just like sort of being outsided by your community. I think it's unfair
Hmm. I
for,
got you.
because she's not the only black girl that is like her. There are black girls just like Sexy Red who act like that or have the same, mannerisms, have the same fashion style and everything. What about those black girls? Like, doesn't she have the right to represent that side of blackness as well? I feel like,
Uh,
you know, it's just like, yeah, I understand. Of course, every community wants to represent themselves in the best way, but I don't know. I don't understand why certain things are bad because they are stereotypes.
yeah.
Like sometimes you got to own your stereotype. Anyways, that's all I said because I don't get it that well.
I got you. I think we could go back and forth about this all day. I think there is something there about like, okay, Sexy Red can represent a certain segment of black people. I just feel like it's not like, can we get some other type of representation? Or can Sexy Red, and I hate just to make her the face of it, but she's pushing it to the limit so far that it's like she is making herself the face of it. Like, can we get some other type of representation? This
You
is
do
the biggest.
you do have other types of representation.
There is, but I feel like in female hip hop, it's only been fuck a mama, get some money, fuck him for a bag, fuck him for a car. Like that's all it's been for the past few years. Like there's been no female rappers coming up that's actually did the Lauryn Hill route. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's SZA
She's not a
and
rapper.
oh my God, Lauryn Hill, was she a rapper?
Yes, she was. She was literally a rapper.
I
Yes.
think she was R&B like SZA.
No, no, she was not. Lauryn Hill was a rapper. Ooh la la la. Come on now. Come on
Okay,
now.
she's not rapping in that, but okay.
She was rapping on that song.
Anyway, I'm not arguing with you on rap because I know you can beat the shit out of me.
Don't say it like that. I'm not offset. I'm not
Like
abusive.
conversation and debating, not physically.
I got you. I got you. All right. So I think we'll wrap up this live with acting. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Shout out to everybody jumping in the chats. Shout out to Jesse Paris. Shout out to Morito. Shout out to my guy Nelson Moreno. Shout out to Commando. Shout out to who else was in here? Got a lot of people up in here, but shout out to everybody, FBA Strong, everybody who showed love and support. And yeah, y'all be easy out there. Tune in for more live streams, more content on my channel, going live more often, posting up more content, staying active with the people. Y'all be easy out there. Peace.